Good evening and welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 74. I'm Ron.
I'm Shane.
Walker was supposed to be here, but he hasn't checked in yet. So he could join us a little bit later, but he wants to do a FNRS pre-show, but we'll see. So,
Probably practicing right now.
uh, yeah, they've been working on it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later here in the show. So again, welcome to Between the Lanes, episode number 54. We're on YouTube, Slot Racers, the channel. 74 episodes up, and some special episodes and some how-to videos and other interesting stuff. Find us on Facebook. Between the Lanes is the page on Facebook. And race results for the weekend of January. Happy New Year. January 5th and 6th. No winning report. So the Midwest Slot Car Series was back in action at Columbia City Raceway in Columbia City, Indiana. And in the LMP race, Joe Liguori was your winner. Tim Batts was second. Steve Pepler third. And then in GTP, Joe was the winner again with Steve second and Tim third. And in Can-Am, Joe was the winner. Kind of pulled off a trifecta here.
Yeah.
Dale Wilson was second, and Lonnie Batts was third. And the dirt late model class, I don't have last names, but Donnie was the winner, a local racer, and Brad, a local racer, was second, and Joe Liguori was third. And not a huge turnout, but they raced LMP and GTP on the Florida Orange track and Can-Am and dirt late model on what we call the reverse orange track there. The Midwest Flat Track Series was in action at Mid-American Naperville on the LTD, I believe. In the JRL class, Chuck Gambo was the winner, Kevin Van Pelt second, Ricky D in third. In the Enduro class, Scott Morgan was the winner by a lap over Brian Meharry. Chuck Gambo was third. In the B production class, Dave Goss was your winner. Ricky D second, Gary Gasport, the guy that makes all the backtrack stuff, so you can put a name with the face or face with the name, was third. And then in Open 12, Dale Lipe was the winner, Dave Goss second, and Ricky D with a big smiling laugh was third. The AWRA American Womp Racing Association was in action at the Slot Car Cave, Rock Hill, North Carolina. And,
South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. I'm sorry. I thought that, but I was like, I think it's North. So they raced Sportsman and Outlaw Legends, and it was the same podium for both races with Jimmy Johnson the winner, Charles Eldridge in his Evel Knievel shirt in second, and Aaron Farrell, the raceway owner, was third. The Crosstown Challenge race was held at Mid-America, but I have no results or photos for that. So we will go to Retro East, which was at Fast Tracks and Hobbies, Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania. They raced on the hill climb there, which is a pretty short hill climb, similar to what we had in South Bend for a while. In the stock car class, Jimmy Williams was the winner. Brian X-Pro Cochran second. Pat Skeggs was third. I don't have a photo of the Can-Am podium, but Matt Bruce was the winner. Jimmy Williams was second, and Brian X-Pro was third in Can-Am. In Ohio Retro Series was at Mark's Model World. No podium pictures. Can-Am was won by Cap Henry, Greg Fox second, Jason Dennis in third. In F1, Cap was the winner again. Jason Dennis in second and Greg Fox in third. So same three guys on the podium, just a little different positions between second and third. And then stock car, Bud Bartos was the winner. Steve kept second. Dan Ebert was third. The Ohio Oval Series was at Race-O-Rama in North Baltimore, Ohio. And the IndyCar class was won by Jim Pace Jr. Keith Nelson, the second, was second. That kind of went together. And Dennis Murray was third. And Dennis Murray, he runs the series, and he does a super job with the series, and we had a good time. So Stock car class, 4-inch. I was the winner. Jim Pace was second, and Dan Richardson was third. Jim Pace was really fast. Like, it was, oval track is, bottom lanes are always supposedly faster than the top lanes, but they don't have a pinion rule. So some guys are as fast or faster up top than they are on the bottom. So it makes for an interesting race. You're thinking, okay, I'm really fast here, but you get to another part of the track, and then the guy that you were passing when he was low now is passing you when you're down low and he's up high. It's just, and then dirt late model, Kirby McLennan was your winner, Terry Watson second, and I was third. And I don't know what else we got. I guess that's it. Winner, chicken dinner. That's last weekend's race results. So next week we should probably have a Crosstown Challenge report. So we'll add that to next week's results.
Sunday.
So this is the weekend of January 12th, and we have the Retro Hill Climb Showdown, which is a retro race at Southern California Slot Cars out in Colorado. We have the NorCal Enduro. ORS is at Mark's Model World this weekend. The Mid-American Hard Body Series is at Chicagoland. Central Illinois Slot Series is at Bloomington, Illinois. And the USCA is at Chicagoland Raceway on Saturday as well. I think they'll run USCA early in the day and the Mid-American Hard Body later in the day. And then, of course, the FNRS 2019 season race number 1 will be at the Slot Car Track Concord. And Shane will be there, and weather permitting, I should be there. January 19th, we got the Hillbilly Nats at Slot Cars or Us. Ohio Challenge Cup, Tom Thumb Hobbies. JPM Series at Thaser Raceway. Gator Retro Racing Regions in action, and Retro East is in action, as well as the Ultimate Winter Challenge 4 drag race. We've talked about this the last couple of shows. $295 weekend entry with $20,000 cash and prizes. So that's a drag race.
Nice.
And then January 25th through the 27th, there'll be the Checkpoint Cup at Buena Park Raceway. God, this has got to be like about the 10th annual or something, 10th or 11th. And then BRS will be at Fast Tracks in Fremont, Ohio on the always exciting Bull Ring Bank American Royal Black Track. On the move. So, you've probably seen these pictures, but
Yeah.
as we reported a week or so ago, Eric Shirey has purchased the old Slot Shop American Orange track. And this is an original American Raceways Orange. Eric's thinking it's like a 1964 model. There's really no way of knowing for sure on American tracks because they really didn't date them. And the tracks had serial numbers which were printed on an old Dynamo label and stuck up under the track. And I don't think anyone's ever successfully decoded the whole serial number mysteries.
Right.
I do know that if the serial number has like an L or a C, that means it was either shipped from Los Angeles or it was shipped from California. And there's usually like the length of the track in the serial number. And Eric messaged me earlier today and said, well, the serial number is there. It's like 8D, and he can't make out the rest. And he wanted to know if I knew what the 8 meant. And I said, well, 8 probably stands for 8-lane because in 64,
Right.
American did make a 6-lane track. So the 8 was probably for 8-lane tracks. And but we don't know that because we've never seen a 6-lane track, let alone the serial number on that. So who knows how that would start off. So anyway, they are now setting up the track at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio on the 2nd floor. So we are making progress. This picture was from a couple of days ago. And I think they're working on it during the weekends when everyone's off work. So
Right.
but they did get the beast upstairs. That's
Yeah.
the biggest part of that whole problem was
Yeah.
that and moving some other tracks, tearing them apart, moving them out of upstairs and getting them downstairs to storage. So pretty soon we'll have 3 American Raceways tracks in operation at HMS. So, and then of course, the story of the King Cobra at the slot car track Concord. So, like a week ago, this thing was not even repainted yet. They were still bottling and sanding and leveling. And last week we showed that they had put the new paint on the surface, and now you can see we have braid, and there's the track with braid and no striping, and we're working on wiring, and then yesterday they posted some pictures of the new power supplies, and earlier today they posted pictures of a track with stripes on it. So it's got to be running by Friday, and
Yeah, we hope.
I'm pretty sure it will be.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Randy today, and he said there's just like minor things,
Yeah.
There's nothing,
I mean, as far as the surface looks and the striping looks, it looks great. And I seen he had pictures of his wiring blocks for the taps and stuff. So
Right. Yeah, I think he was finishing up a couple things with wiring today, hooking up the power supplies. He says he didn't want to put the infield in yet because he wanted to wait so he could make some laps in case he had to do some adjusting
Sure.
with the legs or whatnot. And I was like, yeah, but he said it should be glued and ready for Friday. So,
Hey. Looks good.
oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been almost a year probably since I've raced it.
Right. So so before we do our in memorandum, earlier today it was reported that Paul Pfeiffer, owner of Alpha Products, mostly known for Alpha slot car racing tires, had some heart issues, and he was flown from Fond du Lac to a heart facility in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and that's all I know at this point. So thoughts and prayers are with Paul, and hopefully he will have a speedy recovery. And this week we mourn the loss of Dave Gehring there in the black shirt next to his partner in crime, Rick Stagan. They were racing buds for 40 years. If anybody's raced in the Midwest for any period of time in the last 40 years, they would know Dave and definitely know Rick. And so Dave Gehring, many years ago, opened a raceway in Rontoul, Illinois, where he was stationed over there in the Air Force. And he found a track, and he opened a track. It was open for a short time. It was a race a go-go track, which are pretty rare. Similar to a King, not quite a King, but similar. And then Dave finally retired from the Air Force, and he went back home to South Bend, Indiana, where he grew up. And this is a picture recently outside of Thaser Raceway. We had a hard body enduro there a few months back, and this was a picture out front. So in this strip center, where the yellow sign is here, that is the sweeper company that Dave's dad started back in the 50s. And, pretty much all the kids, he had, I think, 3 brothers, 5 kids total. He had a sister. I think they all spent time working in the sweeper store and growing up in the sweeper store. And it's a successful business for many years. And so anyway, they own this strip center from the raceway down to the end of it, and there's an alley. But down at the end, there's a rental space that you can't really see in this picture, and that's where Dave opened Thaser Raceway back in like 1996. So I don't remember exactly how many years that was open, but eventually at some time it closed for a short time. And in that building, Dave had this Chris Dad's built hill climb, which Dave designed. It's like Dave, how can I say this? He wasn't a designer of tracks, but he liked designing tracks, if you will. So Dave designed this hill climb track, which now is at Mid America Bloomington, Illinois. And how it got there, I'll explain in a second. But Dave designed this track, and what's so unique about this track is it doesn't have a bridge. Okay, so like cars don't come off under the bridge.
Right.
It's very easy to marshal. I mean, technically, you only need like 4 marshals on this track, which most hill climbs you need 5 or 6 marshals, because you kind of need one down here at the end of the straightaway and one up here,
Right.
finger, and one over here, and then it depends on how we race. Some days we need 10 over here, but this turn I call the keyhole, or some guys call it the carousel. So, I mean, basically this track, when you come out of the finger, you have to kind of drive, let up, quick blip maybe through a little, what I call the wiggle. And then usually you're just full punch from that point around the carousel down to the bank to the bottom of the straightaway. So, but again, if the track is slick or something, you may have to, kind of blip it or something.
Right.
Get the car to go around and stay in. So, track is super fast, but it was a Dave Gearing thought design. This track has been well received by anyone who ever raced on it. I mean, and they race wing cars on there from time to time, and they really modoc around that baby. So Dave had this track in South Bend, and at some point he decided he wanted an original American hill climb. So Minx, which is what the raceway was called before it became Mid-America Bloomington as we know it today. Minx had an original American hill climb that came from Long Island, New York, which was actually Crawley's hill climb, which Crawley Distributing had a raceway when they were still in Long Island. They had distributorship in a raceway, and Peter Crawley ran the raceway. But Crawley's had sold the track to Minx. Minx had it. Dave wanted it, so Dave traded his dad's hill climb for the American hill climb. But Dave had to restore this hill climb, and Dave was a perfectionist. I mean, it took forever, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but that's just the way Dave did, So I think Dave took almost 2 or 3 years from start to finish, before he opened the door and had the first race on the restored American hill climb. And I've only seen one nicer American hill climb that's been restored, and that would be at Modelville in Ashland, Massachusetts. But they're both similar speed-wise. This track was always fast, and it still is very fast. But track at Modelville is maybe just a little smoother, but they're both really nice. But there is a little difference between the two. So most guys just don't like American hill climbs because of the crossovers, but that's okay. It's acquired taste for sure. So, and then Dave sold the American hill climb to Frankie Schaefer, who then put the track in upstairs at HMS in Bellevue. Okay, and then Frankie owned the track, and eventually then he sold it to Tony Stewart, because Tony Stewart already owned the King track. So Frankie and Tony came to some kind of a deal, and Tony bought the hill climb from Frankie. And then Dave designed what we call the White Knight course, or what Dave titled the White Knight course, which is a hill climb with a couple of twists. So it's not like this really speed, but if this was a 180 here and this was a 90, this track would be mega fast. But with the little wiggle squiggles, as I call them, you have to drive the track. It's just nothing. You can just go in there and go blip, 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 blip. But it's a really fun, challenging track. Usually need to race on it a time or 1 or 2 times to get the gist of it. But once you get it down, it's a fairly easy track. It just requires a little bit of discipline on your behalf. But yeah, I mean, you can get around. I mean, you can get around Red Lane really fast, but you gotta hit your marks.
Right.
So this was the last track that Dave designed, and then Chris Dadds built it, and it's been in operation at Dazer for probably the last couple of years, maybe close to 3. And Dazer Raceway will go on. It's not closing anytime soon. This is a picture of Dave with Dave Solomon, Fred Fowler, and Dennis Clark. And they're all racers at Dazer. And Dave was going to go to Florida after the holidays was over and usually stay down there till March. Him and his wife and the grandkids come down and visit, and they go to Disney World, and they do all kinds of family stuff. So Dave did that last year, and he was getting ready to do it this year. And last year I think he closed the raceway for the time he was gone. And this year he was going to let Dave and Dennis and Fred do it. So now they're just going to continue with that, with what Dave wanted. Okay, because like Dave would not want the raceway closed. Keep the raceway open, keep it going. And I think those 3 guys are pretty capable. And I think that Dave's brother, Doug, who runs the sweeper company, will also be involved to a certain degree. And Dave's wife, Marcia, also agrees to keep it open. So it's going to stay open. And we'll see what the future holds, but I think it'll be here for a long time to come. So we'll see. So, I mean, I know Dave for like 35 years or so. I met him at a wing car race in Bradley, Illinois. I hadn't been racing very long. A friend of mine, Rich Ball, was pretty good friends with Dave because Rich had been running the series and Dave ran the series. And they raced International 15, and Mike Swiss was raced International 15 that season, that year. And it was either 82 or 83. I don't remember exactly which off the top of my head. But the last couple of races, like Rich and Swiss were in a tooth and nail battle for the series championship, right? So I told Rich, I said, well, I'll go to the races with you and pit for you and stuff, and help you out and stuff like that. And he's like, okay. So we went to the last race. It was December. It was at Bradley, Illinois. They had 2 King tracks there. They were both Haase tracks. So they had 2 tracks in the same room, but we only raced on one. I didn't race, but I went to help my buddy Rich. And when it was all said and done, Dave Gearing won that race that day. And that's the first time I met Dave, first time I'd seen him or met him. And then Rich and Swiss actually tied for the series championship. And they were co-champions of that series. So that's how I got to know Dave. And then like I've told people, me and Dave weren't like bosom buddies. I mean, I'd go to race, he might be there.
Right.
Me and Dave probably got closer the last 10 years or so, over American Raceways, because he loved American Raceways. And, we would, exchange information. He'd find stuff and make me copies. I'd find stuff and make him copies. And so I raced at Dave's in '96 on when the Chris Dadds track was at the other end of the strip center there, and just over time since '96 got to be, more communicative and friendlier with one another, and I can't say anything bad about Dave. Dave was a great person. He was a great guy. He's going to be sorely missed. Always had a smile on his face. I mean, like Dave would, he like they said yesterday at the memorial, like he always would have a quick comeback or smart ass remarks sometimes, and he had a smile on his face. And I mean, Dave had his bad days at the track too, but they didn't last very long. So, um, he gets frustrated. He got just as frustrated as you and I do, or anyone else does. So, but at the end, it's always a good time. And so, like when I got the call Tuesday or last Thursday, I guess it was, that he had passed away. I mean, I was just, dude, I was blown away. I was totally shocked. I mean, I was shocked when Randy passed away, but with
Right.
Randy, we knew that inevitable was going to happen someday. We didn't know when, but you knew it was coming because he just wasn't in good health. Dave's health was great. I mean, I went with him to REH in October, nothing wrong. We went to his place for the Utica Nats in November, nothing wrong. But then, December 10th, I talked to him, and he was having some issues. Didn't seem to be anything major at the time. Just a problem. That hopefully the doctor's going to fix. And then, I was going to call him before Christmas, and I thought, nah, I'll just leave him alone because right after the holidays, they're going to be leaving to go to Florida, so they're probably pretty busy and stuff, and all the grandkids, and so he went in for surgery 5 days after I talked to him, and they discovered he had cancer, and basically said, you got a couple of months. And I mean, he didn't last another 2 or 3 weeks, and he's gone. So totally shocking. I mean, I had no clue that. And when I talked to him, I mean, if he knew, he didn't tell me, and that's fine. That's his choice.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think from what I've learned talking to the family stuff. When I talked to him on December 10th, he had no clue he had cancer. It wasn't until December 15th when he discovered he had cancer, and that's what's so shocking. I mean, so like I said, I was just totally blown away when I got the phone call. So then yesterday was his memorial, viewing a memorial, and they had some slot cars of his, and Dave had never showed it to me, but Dave had they had his first slot car there, and it was a Cox Chaparral. I can't 2D or something, but it was the car that Dave started with like in 1966, and they had it there, and it was just pretty cool. I mean, a very special car. Like I said, he had never showed it to me, and Dave has a hell of a collection of slot cars, 32nd scale, and he's got a track in his basement, a plastic track, and I think we've talked about it before. I mean, he kind of collected Hoffman slot car boxes. He's probably got 20 of them down there. Not 20, but I mean, he's got 14, 15. I don't know. He's just, and I mean, he just got stuff here and there, up on the shelves. And here, let me show you this.
Right.
And one of the things I told you about, he won that wing car race, in December of, I think it was 82 or 83.
Mm-hmm.
He still had that car. Like he got that out one night and said, here's the car that, I beat Richmond Swiss that day with, and, the final race of that series. And, he had restored it, and it was in a box. And so, yeah, it was pretty awesome. So several from the slot car racing community was there. And we had a good time. I think like Dave would have wanted us to have a good time, but at the same time, there were some touching moments during the service and stuff. And I was glad I went. I hate to see Dave gone, but glad I went, and glad to see everybody that did show up, whether they were local racers or, series racers that came from a distance to come. So, and then here's a picture of Dave and Sano Dave Fiedler.
Right.
We went out to Modelville Hobbies because, again, Dave, the American Raceways, freak.
Right.
He wanted to go out there and run on the Purple Mile, and see the black out there, and Dave, and Rick and Dave Fiedler, they all traveled together. I went out there with Dan Myers, and Richard T. and Bob Foster was there, and Ray's. I mean, we had quite a little group from the Midwest for that race there, and there's Dave and Dave running their old Cox La Cucarachas on the Purple Mile, having a big time. And the following year, Dave and Rick Stagan and I went together, and Dave was unable to go because he wasn't in the best of shape at that time. So, all intentions was to take him back, and he wanted to go back, but he couldn't go back. So, but Dave Gearing, seen to it that Sano got there. I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that Dave took care of Dave, and, just we're going to take you to the race. And that's what Dave did. So, and then last weekend I raced and, kind of had a little memorial thing going for Dave with the DG on the car, and Terry ran it and Uncle Bob ran it. So, and picture pretty much sums it up. So, moving right along. That's all I got to say. So, what's on your mind?
Just getting ready for the FNRS race this weekend.
I have to do some of that myself.
Every day, Bobby, you in the box? You in the box? No.
Never in the box.
No, I'm not. Even whenever I say I am, I'm not. But
right.
Figure I got tonight, and then Thursday I want to pack up. Then Friday, whenever I get done with work, I'll head up there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, bodies are painted and cars are built. Just don't really know what tire to run because it's all new. I think beginning of the week, I was like, any idea what you're going to start on? And you were like, I was kind of hoping you and Bobby would know,
Right.
And I was like, well, I won't know because y'all will be there before me. So.
All right, so we do have some giveaways. I just got the picture.
I got you.
So I'm going to hold this up. I don't know how well you're going to see it. But Mid-America products. Yeah, this is a motor driver Allen wrench, like 564.
Big one. Gotcha.
Yeah, it would be just like his.
Hang on, I got one.
There you go. Be the same as that, except it looks to be in purple, anodized in purple.
Yep.
And I don't know if the driver will. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be the same overall length, but.
Well, you can loosen the set screw.
It looked pretty close.
Shorten it up.
Does that look? That looked probably just about as long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the man who doesn't like to get close to his work. The Mid-America. So, yeah, he said to give away 3 of those. So.
Yeah, I need to take another trip up there this year to restock on my Allen wrenches. Every time I see Roger, he's like, here you go.
There you go.
It's like, here you go.
Have an Allen wrench.
Yeah. Or for the Flexi Flats, I'm cleaning up, and I look down, and I'm like, I got another wrench.
I have 2 of them, so I don't need any more. All right, so we'll give one away now. Okay, the lucky winner is George Good. I don't know if George Good. I don't know if it's good or goody. It's good with an E on the end of it. So I've seen people pronounce it both ways. So George Good or Goody. You need to contact Roger at Mid-America, Naperville, or Mid-America Products on Facebook. Tell him you're a winner. Give him your address, and he will ship that right out to you. So, I raced last weekend. It was oval racing. What can I say? So the dirt late model race, you'd love this. The dirt late model race. It's 4.5 inch.
But I loved it in a good way, or loved it in I'd have been frustrated.
Well, you'd have loved it probably in a good way.
All right.
So they're 4.5 inch cars with dirt late model bodies and Super 16D motors, and I guess we're running 1.4, 1.5 second laps. I don't exactly know the lap footage of the track, but it's a tri-oval. And so I'm leading, and we started the 7th heat, and I hit someone, and it broke the top of my guide flag off. Like on, I guess it was on the passenger side of the car.
Right.
Well, of course, my clip and my braid won't stand because there's nothing there to.
Right. Yeah.
So they have a rule in the series that you can ask for a minute to do repairs in case of things like that. And so some guys, like they can get their stuff fixed in a minute, and other guys seems like we give them a little extra time. No kind of
right.
It is what it is. No one complains. No one gripes. Everyone's there having a fun time. So,
but when it's you,
no. I'm not going there. I mean, like I said, it was good.
I know. It's just funny because you were like, some guys they go a little more, and other guys they don't. And I'm like,
well, no. I should say some guys take a little more time than other guys.
Right.
Like, so, I go over and I pull the body off, and I'm like, well, maybe I can just melt, because I'm thinking I have 1 minute, right? I'm like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to melt the new braid into the guide flag.
Right.
I'm going to solder my lead wire to the top of the clip on the braid.
Right.
I'm going to pour some super glue a little bit in there, and that maybe will hold everything together. Because all I could do, because I had a decent enough lead, I didn't really have to run hard.
Right.
Just kind of limp and probably maybe pull it out, as long as the braid stayed in. So when I go to bend the braid over, it doesn't want to bend because now the
solder
braid has wicked all the super glue.
Yeah.
So then I get it bent over, and I'm like, I probably am not going to have any contact because the super glue, is formed a
kind of glaze.
Yeah. And sure enough, I was right. So I went over and I scrubbed it with my braid brush and came back, and it was a little better, but it still wasn't right.
Right.
I went back, and now I'm down because I'm trying to fix it on the green.
Right.
And it's okay. I mean, no big deal. You can't win them all.
Right.
So then I finally get it going pretty decent. And Kirby, who was running second to me, who then took the lead when I had my misfortunes, he's leading the race. So I let him by because my car really wasn't 100% right. And then he comes off in the straightaway, and I hit him, and I knock his motor out of his car. Okay.
All right.
So he unplugs, and it's like, Kirby, go put your motor in your car. Nah, screw it. I'm done. Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, no, you got a minute. Go fix your car. Well, I don't have a hot iron. I'm like, well, I got a hot iron right over there. You can use it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm like, you know what? I'll put your motor in your car.
Right.
So I put his motor in his car for him, and then he finished the race. And then I was still in second and still having the braid issue thing, and then Terry got around me in the last heat, so I got third. But I was okay with that because, shit happens. So
we should copyright the braid melting thing.
But I should have. I don't know why I thought about. I guess because I thought I couldn't really change my. Because it wasn't just so much changing the guide.
Right.
I was going to have to change the guide clip because the guide clip was all mangled. So I thought I could just melt everything together, which it kind of worked, but it didn't work. Right. So in retrospect, if I'd known that I probably would have got a little bit more than a minute, I would have changed the guide flag.
Different game plan.
Different game plan. So
I forget what race it was. Bobby did that to his car, and I was like, "Don't worry, I'll fix it." I was like, "Just don't hit anything else."
Right. Well, that was my thing. I figured if I could get it going, I could
Right.
run and not hit nobody. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
see,
had
this is when it was broken, and then once I fixed it, I was like, "You should be good," but still.
right.
And then it was well, where'd you learn that from? I was like, Ron on the show. you know, he's like, I
Well,
never
I
would have thought
had
about that.
when just the side of it split. When the whole top is gone,
Yeah. Well, top of it, that's whenever you got to have like little.
I should have went over and found the piece of plastic and just.
That's what I was gonna say, because kind of off topic, but like growing up, my dad had a motorcycle dealership. And of course, motorcycles had the plastic fairings and all that. And it was basically a plastic welder. It was like a heat iron.
Yeah.
And it was like shaped like a spoon, but there was a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would get hot, and you had different gauges of plastic rod that you would put in there.
Right.
And it would melt, kind of like a hot glue gun.
Right.
And you could just basically on the back side of it, because you'd paint the other side,
right.
You would just piece it together. And that's, God, I couldn't tell you how many of those I did as a kid. I'd get bored, and Dad would be like, well, there's a pile of stuff, fix it, And where the shop was at, it's kind of cool, because we had the motorcycle shop in the front. That was one building. And the building behind that was a T-shirt shop. So that's where we would get all our shirts and stuff to go to Daytona with. And then there was another shop to the other side, was a paint and body shop. So it was just like everything right there that we could ever need.
Right.
So, yep.
So, and then the 4-inch Indy race was just a hell of a race, because Keith Nelson was second.
Was that Saturday night, or was that for?
It was Sunday.
So they ran all that on Sunday?
Yeah. We were done by 4:30 or so in the afternoon. I mean, we only ran 3 mains, and I think the most we had in the class, I think it was 10 in the IndyCar class, 9 or 10 in the stock car class, and we had 8 dirt late models.
Gotcha.
So Keith Nelson led the Indy race most of the distance, because he had 2 sit-outs. And then it was obvious with a couple of heats to go that I knew Jim Pace. I didn't race. I was watching. But I knew Jim Pace was really fast. Like, I'd marshaling and watching. And I should say, where I was marshaling, I could watch. Well, I was marshaling coming out of the dog leg. So I was
just kind of caught on to what you said.
The cars went straight away through the bank and come straight towards me. So it wasn't like I was looking down here when they're, but
yeah.
And I don't think any cars really came off from the dog leg. I mean, I was the closest guy to go and move cars on a track call that were in the lap counter, or move them back, or push them through, or whatever. So
right.
It was a key position, but didn't really marshal the cars in the dog leg. So, but I could tell that Jim Pace was very fast. And a couple of heats ago, it was pretty obvious that they were within a lap or 2 of one another. And Jim had lane advantage by finishing on the bottom, where Keith was going to finish up top. And they finished on the same lap. I think Jim was ahead, not even half a lap. So it was a pretty.
That was on the oval?
It was on the oval.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, they had IndyCar race was a really good race between those 2.
It's kind of like our race for the Nats. That was a close race.
Yeah.
That came down to the wire.
Yep. Because Jim actually, I don't remember if this was in the final heat or if it was the heat before, because Jim went past Keith into the lead, and then he fell off.
Gotta love when that happens.
And then he had to play catch up. So maybe it was the last heat. And I'm watching, and then he goes ahead of him. And I said to myself, now, Jim, you just have to stay on. There's like 30 seconds to go. You got to stay on.
30 seconds is the longest 30 seconds ever.
So yeah, Jim pulled it off, and like I said, it was a really good race. So there was other guys that had a shot, but there was a lot of crashing. So
gotcha.
So in order to win, you got to crash less or be crashed less. I don't know which, but
Keep the nose clean.
Keep the nose clean.
Or his dad used to say, you gotta look past the hood pins.
Terry had so much fun racing Indy cars. When the race was over, he gave his Indy car away. He said, I am retired from IndyCar racing.
Yeah. Was he red?
No. I mean, his
ears red? Because that's generally the first.
I don't think his fun meter was pegged because he continued on, but
did he? Gotcha.
I think he was fourth a lap or something out of the podium in 4-inch stock.
Still not bad.
No, and then he was second in dirt late model, but
I mean, there's been some races I've raced, and by the end of them, I'm just like,
because Terry started on yellow, I started on purple, Kirby started on red. So, one time I had a kind of a big lead, but then when Kirby went underneath me and I went up top, he got back. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But I mean, at one point, me and Kirby, I think I was 8 laps ahead of Kirby, and I was 20-some laps. I think both me and Kirby were 20-some laps ahead of Terry.
Right.
But Terry was going to finish purple and black.
Yeah.
So Terry, because Kirby finished on white, so Terry wound up finishing a lot closer than what you would have thought earlier in the race because of the finish.
I remember some of the oval races. It's like, it's like that doesn't matter, you know. So
yeah.
So one of those deals, knowing what I know now, go back, to the Nats 2017, and I'm sitting there thinking going into the last heat, I got Mr. Hirschman 11 laps down. I should be good. Like, wait a minute, he's finishing on black and I'm finishing on green. I didn't really think this through too good,
Right.
And then we're running. There was a track call, and I looked, and I'm like, all right, I still got 5. I was like, shit, there's still 2 minutes, though, Yeah. That was definitely a nail biter.
Yep.
And then I came off once, and I was like, there it went, Yeah,
the push start's what cost me at the beginning.
Yeah.
Them all.
You got enough. You can give your fat buddy here one.
It was still a good race.
Oh, yeah, it was. Because I remember when it was all said and done, they were like, it's Ron. They were like, no, the lap counter's over there.
Right.
Oh, it's Shane. Like, before I have my mental breakdown or whatever, can we verify this first?
Well,
no, you got it. So I was like, all right.
If you hadn't fell off, you'd have probably been a lap up on me. If I hadn't had a push start, we probably still have been on the same lap.
It's definitely a good race. And the weird thing about it is I remember it. I'm sure you do because me and you are weird like that to remember stuff. It was definitely a fast momentum race,
Oh, yeah.
Because I think from the beginning, I had the lead. And then there toward the end is whenever you really started reeling me in.
Yeah, you kind of led from the get-go because you started down low.
Yeah, because I think I started on blue. Because I remember I finished on green. And you finished on black.
Because I started on yellow. And I think I had maybe I led after the first heat by a lap. And then you went down and I went up.
Right. I know it was close between the two of us. And then
we were the only two
where I stretched it out. And I'm like, all right, I got a cushion.
Yeah, we were the only 2 leaders of the race.
And it really, for an oval, and as fast as that oval was with the stock cars, wasn't really a lot of bad wrecks. I think the worst wreck was at the beginning. I think everyone thought they can go wide open through the dog leg, and they found out real quick they couldn't. And I'm like, missed that one.
Well, they knew that from practice, but again, they didn't think their cars would build up enough speed by the time they got over the dead. But no.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember a couple of people were like, oh, I'm on the floor. It's like, I'm just making laps. It's the oval. Anything can happen.
Yep. Oval racing.
Get some oval racing this weekend. Randy's.
One class, yeah. Stock car.
You gonna get on some of that?
We'll see.
I don't know yet.
I haven't. See how it goes around. If it goes around.
If I put an LMP car out there, and it's good, and I don't have to spend a lot of time on it,
right?
Then there may be a possibility I throw a NASCAR out there, So And then
Oh, excuse me.
GTP, I don't GTP. I got plenty of those cars. So
There you go.
be my first race this year for my hiatus. I think I've took roughly about 2.5 months off.
Wow.
Well, my last race was the Flexi Flats, and I mean, you pitted beside me. After
Right.
that race, I needed to break. I needed to kind of
Right.
push the racing off to the side and just kind of chill out for a little while.
Chill out.
So, nope, should be a lot of fun. Hoping a good bit of people show up.
Right.
So, Randy said if there's 30 people, he'll pay $100 to the winner.
Of which class?
All of them.
Really?
No, but I'm just something you would say. It'd be nice if there's 30 people there.
Yeah.
You never seen Randy, or have you ever clicked on any of his live feeds?
Yeah.
Like a week, 2 weeks ago, he had like 16 or 17 hard body cars. I think it was 16, and he was, he did his little spiel. Now, had there been 17, I'd have paid $500 or something like that to the winner. He'll
be plenty nervous.
It'd be cool because I think whenever he had the track set up in the previous location, he had a battery box, and the deal was if you came around the donut, your car came off, fell off the track, but landed in the battery box and stayed there.
Yeah.
Get a free drink. But I don't think he has a battery box anymore, so I have to ask him this weekend. All right, what's the deal? What's the free drink spot?
Okay, we're going to draw 2 more winners, and we're going to wrap this up.
All righty.
I'm empty-handed. Okay. Andrew Bishop is winner number 2. Andrew Bishop. Contact Roger at Mid-America for your Motor Allen driver tool. And then Gary Adams, I know Gary Adams, Cincinnati, Ohio. Contact Roger at Mid-America Naperville for your Mid-America Allen driver, 5.6. He can use that in retro racing, I think.
They retro guys? Who said I would have.
Gary is, yeah, Gary is. So, and I think Andrew Bishop's a drag racer. I think they use that too for screwing their motors in.
Right.
So, and who knows? Roger might let you trade it for the other one. I don't know. Don't tell Roger I said that.
It's an option.
Because Roger really doesn't watch the show that much, so he doesn't know what I'll tell you guys.
Well, I find myself that if I'm normally part of the show, I won't watch it.
I never watch them unless I got to go back.
I got an hour into the George show. Yeah. So, and then I might watch the other hour tonight after we get done.
Right.
Yep. I looked because I stopped it because I was just like, all right, I'm getting tired.
Right.
And I was like right at an hour, so I might watch the other hour.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Shane's got stuff to do, and I've got stuff to do. And
it's race weekend. Got to get fired up.
Yep. So what's the secret word of the show?
Secret word is Thaser.
Secret word is Thaser. Thaser Raceway, South Bend, Indiana. Dave Gehring, rest in peace. Thanks for everything, Dave. So the secret word is Thaser. And I guess until next week, everyone be safe, have fun if you're going racing, and we will be back, as far as I know, next Wednesday.
Yep.
About 8 o'clock. So, all right, everybody have a good week, and we're out of here.
See you later.